All right, today I've got something utterly unique to share with you. Have you ever noticed how many of us seem to have a peculiar habit of sipping on some milk while conquering languages on Duolingo? If you're also guilty of doing this, feel free to find comfort in the fact that you're not alone. In fact, just a single Google search reveals an entire myriad of forum threads, Reddit discussions, and social media posts where language learners from all over the world shamefully confess to indulging in their daily Duolingo sessions almost exclusively with a side of milk, and borderline refusing to do those lessons otherwise. So the thing is, there seems to be a quirky, yet weirdly common phenomenon going on that unites the language enthusiasts around the globe. The irresistible combination of Duolingo sessions, accompanied by the creamy comfort of milk, leaves consumers with no choice but to indulge in those activities simultaneously. And that makes perfect sense, right? Just think about it. The simplicity of Duolingo, the uplifting presence of a glass of milk. It's a harmonious blend that transforms each mundane language learning session into a linguistic heaven, where milk seems to be the ultimate refreshing beverage that elevates one's language learning experience to some completely unexpected heights. And keep in mind, this combination doesn't just sound good, it also creates an ideal environment for deep focus, relaxation, productivity, and actually goes way deeper than that. So make sure to stick around. But for now, just a short backstory about how actually I stumbled upon this idea. So all crazy discoveries begin on a lazy Sunday afternoon. I'm sure we're all well aware of this tendency, right? And my story is no exception. Just as I found myself fully engrossed in my daily Duolingo routine with a glass of milk by my side, I couldn't help but notice how the creamy beverage seemed to enhance my focus and concentration. Whether it was the soothing sensation or just the perfect blend of comfort and productivity, I knew I was onto something special. Although initially I had some doubts and thought it might be just a mere coincidence. But no, this time it felt different. So, like any proud language enthusiast, I decided to delve deeper into this phenomenon. I reached out to fellow Duolingo users, conducted impromptu surveys, and even consulted with experts in the field of cognitive psychology. And do you know what I found? A resounding confirmation of what I had suspected all along. There's something truly magical about pairing Duolingo with a glass of milk. And in order to grasp what this magic really means, we firstly need to delve deep into the ancient times. You see, even though it may not seem like it at the first glance, owls and cows actually share a fascinating prehistoric connection. The owl, with its keen perception and nocturnal wisdom, was often associated with learning and enlightenment, while its big eyes are often seen as symbols of curiosity, representing an intrinsic desire to explore new opportunities. Cows, on the other hand, were known for their nurturing nature and the life-giving sustenance that they provided in the form of milk. In ancient mythologies and folklore, these two creatures often appeared together, representing a perfect balance between knowledge and nourishment. And perhaps it's within the enigmatic interplay between those two vulnerable creatures that the true alchemy of pairing Duolingo sessions with a glass of milk resides. Like whispers from the distant past, their ancient bond infuses each sip with the extraordinary power of millennia-old wisdom, casting a latent spell of epiphany upon every Duolingo user who decides to resort to such unconventional way of doing lessons. So each time we sip our milk while doing lessons, we tap into this ancient connection, channeling the collective knowledge of generations past. And nowadays, it seems to be commonly believed that it's these prehistoric associations that have left a permanent mark on our collective psyche. It's been deeply ingrained into your brainwave before you were even born, which is actually the very thing that makes this deadlock so unyielding. You are simply in no power to change it, although quite frankly, why should you even bother doing so? In fact, I myself had to learn how to adapt to the unexpected soundtrack of my Duolingo sessions, a symphony of milk pouring in the background which seems to have haunted me throughout all of my daily Duolingo sessions. And before you ask it, no, this wasn't the case because someone was making breakfast for me. Rather, it emanated from within of my brain, like a phantom echo of my subconscious mind, Sure enough, the sound of milk pouring seemed to follow me wherever I went, whether I was conjugating verbs in Spanish or mastering those unusually stylish tones in Mandarin. At first, I obviously found this thing very distracting and borderline exasperating. How could such a mundane and prosy sound infiltrate my language learning endeavors with this level of persistence? But as time went on, I began to embrace it, and soon realized that this auditory companion wasn't a hindrance, but rather a unique aspect of my learning experience. Instead of resorting to some radical measures to fight against it, I learned to incorporate the sound into my daily routine. I managed to find solace in its rhythm, using it as a calming backdrop to my regular language studies. In a way, it almost became my very own Spotify playlist, guiding me through the ups and downs of language learning with a comforting familiarity. And that's how I feel like you should go about your own aggravations as well. Because at the end of the day, it's all about savoring the journey as much as the destination, finding inspiration in the everyday moments, and celebrating the diversity of language and culture that surrounds us. So that's how this simple observation led me to something truly delightful. And so I'm actually very excited to introduce you to the concept of Duolingo Milk, which is essentially a 171-page comprehensive protocol delineating the underlying benefits of just kidding. It consists of only one requirement. You simply need to structure your daily Duolingo sessions in such a way to be able to perpetually give your brain those cozy hugs, which come in the form of sipping down your glass of milk at regular intervals. The key here is to maintain consistent intervals between each sip. Whether it'll be 12 seconds or 2 hours, as long as you keep a steady pace, you're good to go. By the way, just as a quick side note, the settings on this video are obviously a bit different. And I'm afraid those Duolingo messaging videos will no longer be a thing on this channel, as they were insanely time-consuming, and they didn't seem to face much demand either. But I really don't think it's such a miss for my channel, as Duolingo is a highly diverse program and there is still that much stuff to talk about. So while the format may change, the linguistic adventures will definitely continue its happy existence. And yeah, apologies for the 1-month gap between videos. I guess that's just the reality of running a YouTube channel part-time. But anyways, let's get back to the Duolingo milk. So here, a very natural question may start to kick in. Where is this all heading? Like you may be wondering, that's all well and good, but what kind of benefits can I extract from Duolingo milk? And for that matter, you'll have to answer one simple question. Have you ever felt like you're churning through lessons, but the XP just doesn't flow as smoothly as you'd like? Actually, that question was purely rhetorical because I know that the answer is yes, and you firstly have to accept that. So if you ever get stuck or enter this state of mental rut during your daily sessions, I promise that replicating the Duolingo milk strategy is like upgrading from a standard milk pail to a state-of-the-art milking machine. Efficient, effective, and oh so satisfying. I'll even go as far as to state that doing lessons without Duolingo milk is like trying to milk a cow with a teaspoon, slow, frustrating, and downright exhausting. Just as any skilled dairy farmer knows how to coax every last drop of milk from their herd, Duolingo milk empowers you to extract maximum XP from your lessons. Whether you're conjugating verbs, translating sentences, or mastering new vocabulary, every action you take with the use of Duolingo milk triples down on those precious XP points. It wouldn't be very nice if you missed them, would it? With Duolingo milk, gone are the days of laborious language learning with minimal rewards. There is simply no need for all that tedious and brain-numbing drudgery, as Duolingo milk is about to revolutionize the entire language learning landscape as we know it. And you see, the beauty of Duolingo milk goes beyond just the physical. There's something inherently soothing about the act of sipping on a glass of milk while immersing yourself in the world of language learning. It's like creating your own little sanctuary of focus and productivity where distractions seamlessly fade away and progress becomes practically inevitable. Duolingo milk works, and there's no denial of that. But if you are still not convinced, you know what? Fair deal. But at least you have to just try it. Come on, like what's the worst thing that could possibly happen? And for those folks who did choose to stay on board, I decided to break down the whole strategy into such a breeze of simple steps that even the most hopeless Bronze League Duolingo user will understand. But before we immerse ourselves further into the enchanting realms of our linguistic journey, let me take this moment to share something truly exciting with you. In the spirit of full transparency, I would like to mention that in the description below, you can find affiliate links to Duolingo plushies. which is a must-have for any dedicated Duolingo user. These adorable companions are essentially designed to navigate you through the complexities of your language learning journey, adding a touch of whimsy and a delightful flair to even the roughest of days. By purchasing these plushies, not only do you bring a piece of our shared adventure into your own home, but also support this channel as I receive a small commission from each sale. So the question is, why not bring a touch of linguistic charm into your life, while in the meantime helping me to sustain the content on this channel? Honestly, I feel like it's an obvious win-win situation, so make sure to check out the links below and let the magic of Duolingo extend beyond your screens and into your hearts. Thank you so much for listening. So hopefully, with one of those plushies in hand, we can now turn our attention to the process of integrating Duolingo Milk into your daily routine, which, to be honest, is actually remarkably simple. And akin to anything else in the world, it all ultimately comes down to the basics. So first things first, let's talk about consistency. Just like a dairy cow needs to be milked regularly to maintain peak productivity, your language learning routine benefits from regular, consistent practice. Set aside dedicated time each day to log into Duolingo and tackle your lessons. Whether it's first thing in the morning with your cup of coffee or last thing at night before bed, find a time that works for you and stick to it like glue. But what about efficiency, you ask? After all, a skilled dairy farmer knows how to streamline their milking process to maximize productivity. Well, fear not, because Duolingo Milk is all about working smarter, not harder. Learn to identify patterns in your mistakes, focus on areas where you struggle, and leverage Duolingo's built-in tools and features to target your weaknesses head-on. And let's not forget the power of immersion. Just as a cow thrives in a lush pasture surrounded by the sights, sounds, and smells of nature, your language skills flourish when immersed in an environment rich with authentic language content. Supplement your Duolingo lessons with real-world practice, watch foreign language films, listen to music, read books and articles, and engage in conversations with native speakers whenever possible. But perhaps most importantly, don't forget to have fun. Learning a new language should not feel like a burden to you. Instead, it must be a joyous and genuinely enriching experience. So don't be afraid to let loose, get creative, and embrace the occasional silly milk spillovers that may come along the way. After all, even the most seasoned dairy farmer spills a bit of milk now and then. It's all part of the learning process. So as you can see, Duolingo Milk is so ridiculously easy to replicate that, in fact, it's almost unfair. Yet, I'll go as far as to say that it's a real game changer in the obscure world of language learning. Who would have ever thought that something as simple as drinking milk while practicing languages could yield such impressive results? Hopefully, this would dispel any lingering doubts about the effectiveness of Duolingo Milk. Because you see, in today's fast-paced world, finding the perfect balance between work, life, and personal development can be challenging, but Duolingo Milk is always there to help you. So there you have it, language learners, the secret to milking down on Duolingo XP, like a seasoned dairy farmer. With a refreshing glass of milk by your side, feel free to let your imagination run wild as you embark on a linguistic adventure like no other. Feel the thrill of experimentation as you delve into new languages, uncovering hidden gems of diverse cultures and traditions. Duolingo Milk is more than just a catchy phrase. It's a mindset, a philosophy that encourages us to approach language learning with open minds and open hearts. With Duolingo Milk as your trusty companion, the sky is the only limit as to how much XP you can pile up on. And please do keep in mind that the journey to language fluency is a marathon, not a sprint. So take your time, enjoy the ride, kindly ensure you've acquired one of those plushies that I mentioned earlier, and savor the delicious drops of every XP point along the way. Happy milking, my fellow language enthusiasts! May your virtual buckets overflow with linguistic success!